Mike 0 Whiskey Delta Victor. Mike 0 Whiskey Delta Victor. Calling CQ Cray Valley. CQ Cray Valley. Mike 0 Whiskey Delta Victor. Calling CQ Cray Valley for the first Monday of the month. Top Band Net. CQ. Mike 0 Whiskey Delta Tango. Mike 0 Whiskey Delta Tango. Very good evening, David. You're the first one down on the list. Anyone else out there?
G3WMR. We've got Laurie FAA there and also Mark JCF, who was on AM.
Roger, G3WMR, and just call in, Laurie, if you can, to confirm. G4FAA?
Yeah, Golf 4, Foxtrot Alpha Alpha. Good evening, gents. Everyone so far, 5 and 9. But my top band antenna is rubbish, over.
Okay, Roger, top band is rubbish, but I'm getting you 5 and 9, so you can't be that rubbish. Yeah, so I understand that Mark is going to be doing just AM this evening, and so I've got a little AM transmitter that I'd like to test as well. So he asked if I could run the lower sideband portion, and then when we're ready, we'll switch to AM, and I presume Mark will then join in. So anyone else for the Cray Valley Top Band Net? Over.
Golf 4, November Oscar Whiskey.
Golf 4, November Oscar Whiskey. Very good evening to you, Dave. I'm not looking at the meter at the moment, so I can't give reports. We'll do that on the next round. Anyone else to check in the Cray Valley Top Band Net? Over. One last call. This is CQ. Mike 0 Whiskey Delta Victor calling CQ for any Cray Valley members or non-members who want to join the Cray Valley Top Band Net on this first Monday of the month.
You got Keith G4JED calling.
A very good evening to you, Keith. G4JED. Great. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 so far. This is great. Anybody else to join the Cray Valley Top Band Net? No? Okay. So let's get started then. And very good evening to everyone. And so I'll start by passing the microphone over to Dave. David, M0WDT from Mike 0 Whiskey Delta Victor.
M0WDT receiving. Just quickly, I just wondered whether we should move up a bit higher, maybe 1910 or something, because I know we're 3 kilohertz above the QSO on 4, but when the AM tends to be a bit wider, and not sure if we'll be interfering.
Yeah, that's a very good point, David. Okay, shall we all move up to 191? So 1.910. 1.910. M0WDT, M0WDV. Copying me okay on 1.91?
M0WDV, M0WDT receiving. Yeah, thanks, Dev. And good evening, everyone. First time on the Top Band Net for many months for me, because I've just been busy. And because I've been busy, not much radio stuff either. So, yeah, hoping to get some more activity in the next few months, as there's more time in the evening now, it's getting darker. And tonight I'll probably be attempting to use the code R85 in the AM section. I'll give some signal reports on the next round once I've heard everyone speak for a while, and I'll pass it round to the next person. I think that's Frank. I'm not sure. Maybe. Perhaps I'll pass it back to Dav. He knows the order. WDV M0WDT.
Yeah, thanks, David. M0WDT, M0WDV. It's been a little while since I've been net controller, so I'm out of practice. I should have given the running order, so let me do that now. So it's after me, it's yourself, David, M0WDT, and you will pass it on to your right. It's Frank, G3WMR, and then to Laurie, G4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha, then to Dave, G4 November Oscar Whiskey, and then to Keith, G4 Juliet Echo Delta. Around to you, Frank. Golf 3 Whiskey Mike Romeo from Mike 0 Whiskey Delta Victor in the net.
M0WDV and the net G3WMR. I can hear myself coming through on Derby, and you're coming through extremely well on Derby there. Thanks very much for calling the net in. Not too bad up here. That 1907 was slightly quieter in my receiver, but as you say, when we're on AM, it gives a bit more space to the people on 1904, because the propagation is slightly different now than it was in the summertime. So we're probably putting a lot of signal their way. The fact that they were loud here means that we're loud with them, I should think. Not quite sure where they are. Right, it's been a beautiful day anyway. I've got the aerial set up yesterday just in case it was wet or anything today. But I needn't have worried. It's been perfect. So the aerial was all tuned up yesterday afternoon just for safety's sake. Right, so down to Laurie, G4 FAA and the net G3WMR.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, good evening all. I'm surprised. You're all 5 and 9, or better, apart from NOW and GJD. Not even a sniffer carrier. But there again, I've reworked my G5RV, 80 metre G5RV, which is ATU down to top end. And so the SWR when I last looked was 3.5 to 1.
Quite weak, Laurie. Not as strong as Frank, but being heard.
Obviously, I need some work. Okay, well, amateur radio is really a winter sport, and I suppose as from October the 1st, it's winter. I'd better pass it on to NOW, but I don't suppose he can hear me, so I'd better go back to the net controller. M0 Whiskey Delta Victor, Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha, and the top band net, over.
Golf 4 Alpha 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 G4NOW. Yeah, okay there, Laurie, you're well down in the noise for me, but I can hear you and it looks okay. Everybody's 5 and 9. I think Frank is about 5 and 6 with me. I never have a good signal from FAA or G3WMR, but they are comparable. I'm using ST1000D this evening, and I could hear Keith quite low down here again, not good noise. All of those stations are end on to my aerial. Only one thing to report, good news, we have 3 on the foundation course already enrolled before we started even advertising to members. Anyway, over to you, Keith. G4JED from G4 now.
Keith, Dave, G4 NOW passed it over to you. G4 JED, microphone to you from M0WDV.
Now I can't hear Keith, but he's showing a reasonable signal. Ah, maybe not, maybe that's someone else. Dav's definitely there. There's a signal there in Derby.
Back to you, Dave.
Okay, thanks. Keith, I didn't hear that at all. Apologies. When you first called in, you were clear as a bell, but on that over, you weren't even moving the needle, and I couldn't hear a thing. So I'm not sure what the difference was between when you called in and your over just then, but I'm afraid I didn't hear you. No report. Absolutely zilch. Apologies for that, but hopefully maybe you can figure out what changed and maybe change it back. But I can give reports to everyone else. So David M0WDT, you're 5 and 9. Frank G3WMR 5 and 9. Laurie G4FAA 5 and 9, and Dave G4NOW also 5 and 9. So everybody strong signals to me, except for Keith. It's definitely something went wrong there because I could initially hear him when he called in, but then I'm afraid I just didn't hear the last over at all. Yeah, so we'll do the lower sideband portion of the net as usual, and then we'll when we've had enough of lower sideband, we can have a go with AM. And I have got a homebrew transmitter here, which I'm looking forward to trying out. The only time it's been on the air so far is for my own testing, and I've had a QSO with Guy on it as well on AM, and he said he sounded pretty good. So it's interesting to see what you think of the modulation and the quality, etc. The only problem with it is that it does tend to drift, with it being very very basic LC oscillator. It does tend to drift, and the smallest movement of any of the wires or touching the knob or anything can send it off a few kilohertz. So I'll have to be keeping an eye on a spectrum scope as well to just make sure that doesn't happen when I'm speaking. So I'm hoping that if this is successful, that we can turn this into a club construction project as well. It won't be expensive. It'll just be probably no more than about £20. It'll be a small board the size of a tobacco tin with a few connectors on it. All the surface mount components will already be glued down on the board. I can get those put on when the board is manufactured, and there'll just be a few components to solder in. Maybe one or two transformers to wind as well, and that's it. Yeah, look forward to hearing your code R85, David. So I think possibly that seems to be a very popular option on the top band net. I know Guy's got one, and obviously Mark's got one as well. So yeah, obviously quite popular. And Dave, your FT1000 is doing very well. Really nice audio, nice signal there. So yeah, I'll pass it round to David now. Mike 0 Whiskey Delta Tango from Mike 0 Whiskey Delta Victor. Over.
0 WDV. 0 WDT received. Yeah, we're really interested to see what you built there, Dave, actually, and hear it on the air. So you've definitely got me curious to what you've actually built. Yeah, no, I'm really interested to see what you've done. Okay, some reports. Dave, you're like plus. I don't think my meter can go any higher. You might as well be in my living room. About plus 40. and everybody else, Frank, Laurie, and Dave, you're 5'9". In fact, Dave, your signal was much better to me than it usually is, and good audio and good signal compared to the last net, top band nets. Unfortunately, the same as you, Dave, Keith, I could just make out there was a voice in the noise, but no meter movement at all, and definitely no readability, unfortunately, so unable to read Keith. The 85 I bought off of Mark, JCF, with a couple of, I forget, a couple of valves in it, but it needed almost a full set of replacement valves, and there was some dry joints, and I had to fiddle about with the power socket at the back, try and clean it up a bit. But other than that, it's in perfect working order, which is quite surprising, as these things are pretty old, and as I understand it was popular because top band nets were the place to be for local communications, not 2 meters but top band, and so people bought these so that they could just have local nets with the clubs and friends, etc. It does 80 meters as well, and it has a key, although I haven't actually tried any CW on it yet. I know it works because I've tested it on the bench, but I haven't had any QSOs with it apart from just the net and the power supply. Guy kindly lent me his power supply, which is on there at the moment, and I've got a half-assembled power supply on my bench in the workshop. I'm actually trying to make a power supply for it, which will power an accompanying radio receiver eventually. But time seems to be in short supply nowadays, so I've got no idea when that'll be ready. We'll see. That's pretty much it. Not really much else to report. I haven't really done much radio at all, so a bit disappointed I missed the surplus sale, because it sounded like there was some good stuff there, which I might have even bid on, but unfortunately I just couldn't make it, so that's a shame. And nothing more to report, so I'll pass it to Frank. G3 WMR for Mike 0 Whiskey Delta Tango.
Break, please.
Yeah, break station acknowledged. Come in, please.
Yeah, Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox. It's Mark, running about 2.5 watts from the FT817. I couldn't resist it. I had to join in on the LSB as well. So mid-flight, I decided to jump in, mainly because I wanted to give people reports as well. And believe it or not, my 2.7 watts about 2.7 watts is being seen on Derby, and just about everyone is being seen on Derby, including Keith, who he could be. I couldn't hear him on the radio on the FRG 100, but I could see him on Derby. But yeah, my 2.7 watts is making it into Derby, unless that's another signal right on 10 as well. So thanks for letting me back in, Dave, and I'll give everyone reports on the next over. But everyone's either 9 or plus, up to plus 30, plus 40. Back to you, Dave. M0 WDV, M0 JCF in the group.
M0JCF, M0WDV. Well, welcome to the net, Mark. And yeah, you're a nice strong 5 and 9 with me, plus. As you're just around the corner, not unexpected at all. Even if you just had a 10 milliwatts, I'm sure I'd hear you. All acknowledged, Mark, and I'll put you in the running order after Keith. So Keith J4JED, if you could pass it around to Mark M0JCF. So I'll send it back round to Frank next, and Frank send it back to Laurie as usual. that FT817. Well, I'm more impressed with your air rule, to be honest. It's got to be your air rule that's good because you're actually coming through on Derby stronger than Laurie is with your FT817. Laurie's the weakest on Derby. I was getting Keith and Dave NOW better on Derby than in real life. And in fact, on the call-in, I didn't even hear Dave NOW because Keith was over the top of NOW on the call-in, and I didn't hear Dave NOW at all. I seem to have quite a good path to Keith on this band because I'm always the one who hears him when he first calls in. So I've got a good path to Keith there. But otherwise, it's quite a good little net tonight, strength-wise. I'm just amazed that everybody is copyable through Derby. Probably the weakest being Laurie. I'm not too strong. I must admit, I'm hitting about the S7 to the 8. The stronger stations are around the S7 or 8 mark through the Derby SDR. So round to Laurie. What area are you actually using, Laurie? Refresher, please, from G3WMR in the Grey Valley net.
Roger, with a pause. I'm looking at my transmissions on Derby and I'm not making it at all. There's a surprise. Okay, it's the G5RV, the 80 metre, the long one version, zigzagged all around the garden, and it's preceded by an ATU, which is basically a single L that's tapped at 50 ohms. And on experimenting this afternoon, the best VSWR I could achieve was 3.5 to 1, which is obviously what it currently is, I think. I can't tell, of course.
Can't hear Laurie on Derby.
More work needed, but we'll see. Right, obviously propagation is exceptionally good tonight because all of you are batting, those that I can copy at all, are 5.9 plus 10, occasionally 20 dBs, but absolutely no copy at all, not even a sniff of carrier from NOW or JD. Mark, JTM, yeah, you're 5 and 9, well, you're 5 in terms of signal strength, but modulation seems a bit low. But there we go, not to worry. In the longer term, I want to talk to you about long wires and onions, which, not onions, onions, which I'm heading towards as a possible G5RV replacement. Right, that's enough. Pass it on. Perhaps I don't suppose NOW can hear me, so I'll pass it. Perhaps he can. Anyway, I'll risk it. G4NOW to take Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha and the group, over.
Oh, Dave. Gone down now. Just inside the S8 noise.
M0WDV Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha. Back to you, Dan.
Yeah, he was speaking, Laurie. I guess you couldn't hear him. G4NOW, carry on, over. Yeah, you've gone very quiet, Dave, but I can very barely hear you. G4NOW.
Not seeing him on Derby either. Something's gone wrong, Dave.
All right.
Now I can't hear Keith G4JED, but he's got quite a signal there on Derby.
Okay, thanks, Frank. I couldn't hear Keith at all, so I'm not sure what's going on there, unfortunately. All right. Okay, so I think we'll do one more round on lower sideband. It's past now, so we'll do one more round lower sideband, and then we'll switch over to AM. My setup here is an ICOM IC705, which of course is a QRP radio, but I've got a little linear amplifier to boost it up to 30 watts, and I've got an end-fed long wire with a remote antenna tuner, so it's the same setup I normally use for most of my HF operations, well, all of my HF operations from home. I do also have a 10-meter vertical, but for every other band, this is what I use, and it seems to tune up all the way from 10 meters to top band, so it serves me well. Well, not that well if I can't hear Keith, and for some reason Dave was very, very low on that over, which is unusual because normally I can hear Dave very well, so I'm not sure if Dave is having some problems. But yeah, you were 5 and 9 on the first over, Dave, but on the second over, you were right down, probably a 4 and 1. I mean, I wasn't looking at the S meter to be honest, but the readability was certainly no more than 4, unfortunately. So yeah, not sure what's happening there. Well done for getting 3 people on the foundation course so far, Dave. So yeah, we need to set a date for that pretty prompto. Next committee meeting will be coming up soonish. I think we've got one more club meeting before the next committee meeting. I think the next club meeting is going to be, it's not this Thursday, it's the following Thursday, and it's going to be Paul WPG speaking about bunkers on the air. And I think the following Thursday might be the committee meeting, and we'll have to nail down a date for the foundation course. I expect the price, we'll keep the price the same, which was the same as this year, which was £65, which is a bargain, as it includes the RSGB fee. Yeah, I mean, we will obviously discuss that on the committee just to confirm. Whoever it was, he said it's been a nice day today. Absolutely, it was a lovely day today. Unfortunately, I was stuck in the office for most of it, but as soon as I came home, I decided to go out to the pub. So, and the pub front door was open, and it was nice. So, just tried to make the most of it. The last knockings of, well, it's not really summer anymore, is it? Somebody said it's already winter, but it doesn't quite feel like winter. But yeah, I think this year has been pretty good generally. All right, enough waffling. Let's pass it round to Dave. M0WDT from M0WDV. Over. M0WDV. M0WDT. This is. Yeah. It was a nice day.
5-9 plus noise, and now it's sort of very consistently at sort of 5 and 6, 5 and 7. And I do wonder maybe, it's speculation of course, but perhaps it's fibre to the premises now that's doing that. I doubt that the neighbours have started buying expensive lamps or anything, so yeah, that's the only change I can think of. But anyway, I'm waffling now, and let's get on to the AM section, so I'll pass it round to Frank. G3WMR from Mike 0 Whiskey Delta Tango.
Right, M0 WDT, G3WMR, returning the Grey Valley net. Yeah, well, I'm most impressed by tonight's propagation. Very, very good indeed. I haven't made any changes. I'm still using the T-shaped Marconi fed against the earth mat. The earth mat is fairly substantial. It's lots of cloverleaf shaped radials all coming to a central termination in the middle of the lawn. It goes as far as the lawn goes in any direction, that the extremities of the clover leaves, and they're long since dropped down, probably several inches
Frank's it in S9. Once again, I can't hear him, but Keith put a nice signal into Derby. Just nudging 7 to 8. I'd say it was readability 1 to 2 to me. Yeah, M0JCF to take. No, there was no might about it. You definitely did miss me the last time. But seeing as I'd run my mouth off previous to that when I called in, I picked up the microphone ready to go, and then you went into your long monologue, so no problem whatsoever. Right, the poppet drifting, your AM transmitter drifting, your homebrew one. I did point out to you, your VFO is totally exposed, isn't it? It's not enclosed or anything. I would go down at least isolating the VFO before anything else. I think it's in keeping with homebrew of yesteryear, what you're doing, and I'd expect it. The poppets I used to make, they drifted, but then my construction wasn't like the construction you've got. And just for the people that are listening who want to know, I do have one of Dav's kits. Now, I was going to use it as the development and give him feedback, but he's made several alterations as he's gone along. So I needed to talk to you, Dav, about the alterations, because what I didn't want to do was build it and backtrack. What I want to do is just build it forwards as per the final thing. Mine is actually being built into a tobacco tin. It was an old, I think it was an old Holborn tin, which I've had on my bench grinder polishing wheel, and now it's got a mirror finish to the whole tin, so the tin looks nice. It's just a shame I've got to drill holes in it now. It'd make a very nice tobacco tin. But yeah, the sunny weather, well, we was out today. We went out this morning walking the dog. We went out lunchtime, went down into Shoreham in Kent, and went down to a pub down there, a walk along the river, and then this evening the final walk. Is it called a harvest moon? The moon was very low on the horizon at moonrise, just after sunset, and it gives you that optical illusion of being enormous. But yeah, very nice. Some comets. There are some comets doing the rounds at the moment. Forget all the conspiracy theories, green men, aliens and spaceships and all the rest of it. They're comets, including the extraterrestrial one. Now there are some comets that are going to be quite visible in October, so you know, be on the lookout for them. Googling is your best friend. I won't go through it now. What else did I write down? Frank, you was S9 at one point on Derby. But everyone, to me, reports wise, everyone was 9+, except Laurie. You was dead on 9, and Dave NOW, you were 8. And then when you had your problem, you was definitely I knew there was a problem, because I couldn't barely hear you, and you weren't showing up on Derby, whereas you was before. And Keith, G4JED, now I can barely hear him. I've got an S7 to 8 noise floor here on top band, at least on the FT817, and I would never be able to have a QSO with him, but I knew he was there because obviously we're on a net. But on Derby, he's putting out a stonking great signal, yeah, around about S7 to 8, and a nice wide signal, like SSB signal. I don't mean splatter. It was a nice thick signal on the SDR display. And what else have I got? Oh, long wires. Yeah, anyone who wants to talk to me about long wires, my one is 90 feet long. It's an inverted U shape, so you've got a vertical section from the 9 to 1 unun. It then goes down the garden at about 20-25 feet up. Then at the far end, at the anchor point on an old tree, there's a vertical section there, and it works out about 90 feet, or give or take a few feet. It's about 90 feet long, and the only reason for it is, you know, being a shortwave listener and crystal set builder for the last 50+ years. It was just one of those things. I've always had one up, and when I got my license, I utilised it. So that's that. Yeah, the AT5, when I go over to the AT5, I'll be going to the FRG 100. I will be having to retune the AT5, so you may hear some AM shenanigans of me test, trying to net myself. and I've tried using the net position, but I don't get a signal. The VFO's not giving me a good enough signal in my receiver, so I have to do it as transmit. So yeah, if you could just bear with me when we're on AM, I may be jumping all over the people trying to net myself in. Without further ado, oh no, I'll tell you what, I'll give you some, what have I been doing radio? Mainly 10 meters. I have been doing some 12 meters, but I'm a CQer, as most people know, on SSB, and the usual suspects are all coming in from the USA now. I worked Barry today, November 4 Whiskey Foxtrot uniform. He's in Carolina, and I found out today we've had 15 QSOs on 10 and 12 meters. Quite a regular, Barry. And you know, we always chat during the season. South Africa, I've had quite a few replies from South Africa. I've had Reunion. Ethiopia was a new one. Japan, I've had a few Japan now. Lots of Russians, Asiatic Russians, lots of USA, lots of Canada, more South Africa, Argentina, Brazil, as you would expect. I've had Angola. That was a new one for me. So Angola and Ethiopia were both new. They were quite recently. And when I was CQing about 2 weeks ago, Colombia, South America, that came back to me, and had a few minutes with him. That was a new country also. I think out of South America, I'm missing Bolivia and I'm missing Peru. But I do believe I've got all of South America now, without double checking. So just those two countries. Otherwise, yeah, I've got all of South America. I've got Panama. I'm not sure of any of the others in Central America. Definitely haven't got Mexico, which is a shame. But I think I'm missing about 6 or 7 states now in the US. Hawaii and Alaska, Montana, you know, the usual suspects, which are not heavily populated for such large land masses. And of course, Hawaii is obviously Pacific. Radio wise construction, yeah, I've been doing a little bit of deconstruction, reconstruction, a few repairs. I've sold a few radios on. A guy has got my FT101E. His payment was a KW2000. He's having a look at that for me. Both my AR88s are duff at the moment. My HRO I'm trying to sell on. Dave, take note. I'll be Dave WDT. Take note, I am selling my HRO receiver, and I got lots of junk that you missed out on that I was selling that I didn't sell, that you might want to have a sniff through that. I do think I've now covered all bases, and the next time I'll be on will be AM. Round to you, Dave. M0 WDV M0 JCF in the group.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. M0 JCF M0 WDV. Sounds like you've had lots of good DX there, Mark. Well done. And once again, apologies for missing you out on the last round. I'm out of practice with this net control malarkey, so apologies again. Okay, and like you, I'm going to need a little bit of time to get set up. I've got to plug a few plugs around, and so if I could ask everyone to be patient, might take a minute or so to get back before I call again on AM. So when you next hear me, hopefully you'll hear me on the same frequency, 1.910 on AM, but probably in about a minute or two. This is M0.
I'll restart the video.